Imagine being told you're not good enough to fry chicken. Not just by one person, but by an entire hiring committee, when everyone else, literally everyone else, got the job. 24 applicants, 23 hired, and you're the one deemed utterly unqualified. This wasn't a CEO interview. This was an entry-level position at a fast food joint. For most, this kind of undeniable public rejection would be a crushing blow, a confirmation of every self-doubt, a reason to retreat. But for one man, it was a subtle nudge on a path that would lead him to build a financial and technological empire worth hundreds of billions of dollars. His name is Jack Ma, the founder of Alibaba. This isn't just his story. It's a masterclass in the psychology of rejection, the ultimate blueprint for forging an armor so thick that the judgment of the world simply bounces off you. To understand how Jack Ma became seemingly immune to failure, we have to look at the anatomy of human rejection. Psychologists tell us that the fear of being rejected is literally hardwired into our biology. Thousands of years ago, if you were rejected by your tribe, it meant you were cast out into the wilderness alone. Rejection meant certain death. So today, when you fail a job interview, or a girl turns you down, or an investor laughs at your business plan, your brain processes that emotional pain in the exact same region where it processes physical pain. Your nervous system reacts as if your survival is being threatened. This is why most people live incredibly small, safe lives. They arrange their entire existence around avoiding the word no. They do not ask for the promotion, they do not start the business, and they do not share their true art simply because the biological fear of being judged is too terrifying. Jack Ma is a profound case study because he somehow bypassed this evolutionary trap. He realized early on that a no is not a physical threat. It is just a sound made by another human being. It is just an opinion. Jack Ma's early life was a continuous, brutal exposure to failure. He was not a natural-born genius. In fact, he failed his primary school examinations twice. He failed his middle school examinations 3 times. When he tried to get into college, he failed the entrance exam twice, scoring a humiliating 1 point out of 100 on the mathematics portion. He applied to the local police force. There were 5 applicants, they took 4, and he was the only one rejected. And then, in perhaps his most famous display of stubbornness, he applied to Harvard University. He was rejected. So he applied again, and he was rejected again. He applied to Harvard 10 separate times and received 10 identical rejection letters. Most people take one rejection as a sign from the universe that they should stop trying. Jack Ma treated rejection as a baseline reality. When you are chronically rejected, one of 2 things happens to your psychology. You either collapse into learned helplessness, believing you are cursed and the world is against you, or you achieve a state of radical detachment. Jack Ma achieved the latter. He stopped attaching his self-worth to external validation. If you only feel good about yourself when people say yes to you, you are a slave to the opinions of strangers. You have handed the remote control of your emotions to people who do not even know you. Jack Ma took the remote control back. He developed a philosophy that would later become his superpower. If everyone agrees with you, your idea is average. If everyone supports you, you are doing what is expected. He began to view rejection not as an insult, but as a filter. A no simply meant the other person did not have the vision to see what he saw. It was their limitation, not his. This mindset was put to the ultimate test in 1995. Jack Ma traveled to the United States and used the internet for the very first time. He typed the word beer into a search engine. He saw results from Germany, the USA, and Japan, but there was absolutely nothing from China. He typed in China, and the screen returned 0 results. In that singular moment, he saw a future that no one else in his country could see. He saw a connected world where Chinese businesses could trade globally. He returned home to Hangzhou, gathered 24 of his friends in his small apartment, and spent 2 hours passionately explaining his vision to build an internet company. At the end of his pitch, 23 out of the 24 friends told him it was a stupid idea. They told him he knew nothing about computers, he had no capital, and the internet was just a phase. Once again, it was 23 against 1. But this time, he was not looking for a job. He was trying to give the world a vision. He woke up the next morning, ignored the 23 people who said no, and started his company anyway. As he began to build Alibaba, the rejections only scaled up in magnitude. He went to Silicon Valley to raise money from venture capitalists. He pitched his idea to some of the smartest, most powerful investors in the world. He was rejected over 30 times. They told his business model was flawed. They told him he was crazy. And that word, crazy, became his shield. In China, they started calling him Crazy Jack. He embraced the title completely. Because if you accept that you are crazy, the judgment of the sane world no longer applies to you. When you are willing to look foolish in the short term, you gain the freedom to build something revolutionary in the long term. Jack Ma understood that innovation requires a period of profound misunderstanding. If you want to create something that has never existed, you must be prepared to be mocked by people who only understand the past. He didn't fight his critics with anger. He fought them with relentless, cheerful persistence. This is a crucial element of the psychology of resilience. Anger burns you out. If you try to prove your doubters wrong out of spite or revenge, you will eventually exhaust yourself. The energy of revenge is heavy and toxic. Jack Ma's energy was light. He was driven by a deep, almost playful conviction that the internet was going to change the world, and he simply wanted to facilitate that change. When an investor told him no, he didn't scream or curse. He just moved on to the next door. He viewed business like a martial art, specifically Tai Chi, which he practices daily. In Tai Chi, when a heavy force comes at you, you do not block it with a rigid arm, because your arm will break. You absorb the force, you let it slide past you, and you redirect it. Jack Ma let the rejection slide right past his ego. He did not let them touch his core. Alibaba eventually secured funding, survived the devastating dot-com crash of 2000, and went on to become one of the most valuable tech companies in history. The man who was deemed unfit to fry chicken at KFC created millions of jobs and fundamentally altered the global economy. But the true wealth of Jack Ma is not his net worth. His true wealth is the impenetrable psychological armor he built over decades of failure. He proved that you do not need permission from authority figures, institutions, or even your closest friends to pursue your calling. So how do you apply this to your own life? How do you stop being terrified of the word no? You have to start actively seeking it. In psychology, there is a practice called exposure therapy. If you are afraid of heights, you do not cure it by reading a book. You cure it by standing on a balcony until your nervous system realizes you're not going to die. If you are terrified of rejection, you must expose yourself to it deliberately. Ask for things you know you might not get. Pitch the audacious idea. Apply for the job you think you are underqualified for. When the no comes, observe your reaction. Notice that you are still breathing. Notice that the world did not end. Every time you survive a rejection without letting it destroy your self-worth, your psychological muscles grow stronger. You stop being a fragile glass cup that shatters at the first sign of criticism, and you become a piece of steel, forged in the fire of resistance. You must realize that the people judging you are often projecting their own limitations onto you. When they say, "You can't do it," what they are really saying is, "I couldn't do it." You do not have to accept their reality. You are the sole architect of your internal landscape. Jack Ma's life teaches us that success is not a straight line of constant victories. It is a messy, embarrassing, painful journey of stumbling from one failure to the next without losing your enthusiasm. It is the willingness to be the only person in the room who believes in an idea. The next time you face a crushing defeat, the next time someone tells you that you are not good enough, or smart enough, or experienced enough, remember the young man in Hangzhou. Remember the 30 investors who laughed him out of the room. Do not let the heavy, red stamp of rejection define your story. Take that stamp, smile at it, and use it as fuel. As Jack Ma himself said, "Today is cruel. Tomorrow is crueler. And the day after tomorrow is beautiful. But most people die tomorrow evening." You have to survive the winter of rejection if you want to see the sunshine of your own potential. Keep moving, keep believing, and never, ever let a no from someone else dictate the size of your future. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.